Abdul Makwaba about POG Media. So I'm going to say POG there says yeah just so my Ghana political stories ni and I also yes kai na so mo said the bear musumo who the echo and the urban na our my Ghana political space na any and so edit change ma na ya bo e buffer stock scandal no so ndra da to the general I don't want them e be Google just so said the bear Ghana man for yesu be who the echo and bone a the past government no enso etimi bedi oman Ghana me no ka say na che say ono so ne nsem no de tu mu say Friday nyambo china ono so de Wahab ebebo de ewura court mrani ni penny a kyerɛ sɛ ɔno nso bɔ adwuma ɛde ma a private firm Martin Kpebu lawyer Martin Kpebu ɛnso de info bi ɛnso ɛde aba de ebetumi asi nyambɔ kyena ɛwɔ court a ɛno nso asɛm a ɛno nso aba tɔ highway no so a yɛde ba bɛso mu abusua mɛn sɛ bɛgye pɛ yɛabɔ de awura nsɛm a Martin Kpebu ɛnso ɛde ka ɛde fa Wahab ne faith in court ɛkyena nyambɔ ada.
Well, so that's the Attorney General there, and Martin Kpebu is still with me. He is a member of this oral preparatory team. Counsel, you hear the Attorney General there. He says that the report you gave or you submitted did not contain enough evidence, and so those have to still go through the process of investigating some of the report details that you submitted, and that also has contributed to the seeming delay that people are seeing and complaining about in this oral cases prosecution. Is it a justifiable one, a verdict on your work?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The oral committee, oral is in stages or phases. Our mandate was basically to collect complaints and then gather these, in a readable, intelligible manner for the Attorney General, who would then look at the cases and then distribute those that will stay with him, those that will go to OSP, then those that will go to Yoko, etc., where proper investigations would then be done. So it wasn't our mandate to investigate. No, but let's say this, when you say investigations, that's even gathering the information around could be commencement of investigation. But what I'm saying is that the investigation as investigation, the one we take to court, that wasn't our mandate. So let's say if somebody brought a case concerning, so let's use the current NSA. You see, NSA, we received Brima, Suleimana Brima and his team. Then they gave us dossiers. So we took those and synthesized them, put together what we could, and then the documents they brought, and then we handed over. But there were some that you wouldn't find. So let's take National Cathedral. Yes, there were complaints about National Cathedral, but I know also that there were a lot of materials, let me call them data, on National Cathedral, the various interviews, the appearance in Parliament, Ofuriatta going to Parliament and justifying those things. Those ones were able to gather and tell a story in a manner that was intelligible and to give the actual investigators the proper leads. So it's okay. The Attorney General was just reminding us that oral stage 1, the 5-member committee did not actually do investigations. The things we did were to take complaints and then the publicly available information and data we put together and then submitted. So it's fine. Yes, and it's okay. It's normal. That's accountability. And you see, the Attorney General himself said that citizens were expectant. So he understands their call for accountability. And so the way they want everything to go at a breakneck speed or at the speed of light. But we also know that there's due process. I like this famous example so that we see. Remember Patty, the Black Star player. You know that his case was investigation started some years ago. To this year, it was made public, and the trial will commence when next year. So look at Party, the Black Star player. So you see even in the UK, they have a backlog. I'm not justifying. What I'm doing is to put it in context that there are, there's a queue. Everywhere you go, there's a queue. It's not as if every country has just one case. So the moment you take it there, in 2 months, it's done. No. So, but let's have faith. That's the thing. You see how painstaking investigations can pay off. You see today, the Attorney General mentioned that the National Service case has now ballooned from about 600 million to what? 2.2 billion. You see, and so you see now,
but Counsel, here's where the issue is, that this oral promise was an integral part of this administration's promise to the Ghanaian people ahead of election 2024. Prior to the president even being sworn into office, your committee was formed, which you were a member of, to kickstart the process. Prior to the elections, already the persons who were championing this promise of oral, listing a number of cases and estimating how much we can even get from the cases. So that influenced the public expectation as well. You did your work as a preparatory team. You handed it over. It's been almost 8 months, I think, since you handed over your report. Would you align with the public sentiments about the pace of work of the Attorney General being slow? Would you align with that?
Not, so let's do this. A bit of yes, okay? A bit of yes, but largely no. We say a bit of yes because naturally it just tells you that human as we are, if we interrogate the system, we'll find out that we can always do things to improve. So yes, to that extent, the public is right. But largely no, because I've already underscored the point that investigations take time. Let's go back to Party, the Black Star case, the Black Star player, you see it, our former captain. Look at his case, years. FIFA, Sepp Blatter, the football lovers, right? You see Sepp Blatter, it took years for FBI to track him before eventually they got him. We could name 1,000 examples. So general investigations take time. And I made a point earlier that look at the National Service case. You see the case was in court and yet investigations continued. And so from about 600 million, now we're going to what? 2.2 billion Ghana cedis. So that is it. So it's also okay. You know, the good thing about citizens asking for investigations to be speeded or we should speed up investigations that it pushes duty bearers. It causes Attorney General to think. One thing that is clear is that Attorney General needs to recruit more lawyers, right? We also need to pass new laws. The way citizens are complaining, I think the first law we have to pass in this era is the one Domlevo is calling for. That the law will stipulate that when a criminal case starts, we must finish within a certain time frame. Let's say maybe 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years. But let it be very certain so that every citizen who knows the law will know that this case has started. In 2 years, we must finish. I'm not saying...
and that's the time as well. That's a proposal that, you know, could be considered. And Martin Kpebu is perfectly opportunity. Thank you. He was a member of the oral preparatory team. Adam Senanu is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. And he wears another hat for our next conversation, but he's joining us in the studio. Senanu, good evening. Thank you for joining us on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening.
Now, listening to the Attorney General earlier today, and then following up with the public expectation, did any of the detail you had today surprise you?
Well, I've stopped being surprised. I mean, rumble in the jungle, where people suddenly think they can transfer money into their accounts and it will not be found out. I mean, that should be surprising. But after somebody bought 27 houses in 4 years, it's very difficult to get surprised.
Those houses were built, I understand.
I mean, you'll be shocked that somebody would think that they could do this and get away with it. That probably would be the surprise, that people still think they can do this kind of things and get away with it.
What does it tell you about the systemic weaknesses? Because, I mean, if there were periodic audits, for instance, at the buffer stock, we don't have to wait till administration leaves and then this is found out?
Well, yes. I think that it's not just that. I mean, when you have internal audit systems that are working, we shouldn't have this kind of result. So the follow-up question should be, Where were the internal auditors, and what did they find out? Was this purely when the external auditors came in as the audit, service? But the good thing is been found out, and I'm thinking that the important thing is the level of sanctions that are administered over time. If we do this more regularly, people will begin to see that there's no way you can get away with this kind of thing.
Right. We're going to go for this quick break. When we're back, Adam said, no second hat. It's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. And also, it's probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil, Tum Preco. Coming up next year on Ghana Tonight. It's not good news. Tonight, at least 4 persons have been confirmed dead and several others injured in a suspected targeted attack in Garu in the Upper East region. Now, we're live on the ground with the latest on this matter, and just to set the basis for this and what we're gathering right now. This is a story that we've been paying close attention to over the last 2 hours.
Sound like Jùdgmént message shop drop like someone subscribe to your POG Media so I need to go call for a drop subscription. Now was sharing off for us and so it's me come binoms on the echo and the air bandina my Ghana political space. Neck come here say a year Wahab and it's Kpebu year over 78 million Ghana cedis now also at me and then a year I just say almost at me Spanish Ghana and I just say before says I a year newsway and so hit the highway no so cry just say info bi and so aba and I just say you are Dr. Bawumia as you dean woman na say I'm sure ya court one Canada no Dr. Bawumia and so bit me atwene the number area court so bear witness and as be bisa abusua is about to aso 18 we trade
been unfolding in a very tragic way. 4 people have been confirmed dead and several injured after gunmen carried out a targeted attack in the Garu and the Upper East region in the early hours of today. That we got information. According to security sources, the armed men opened fire at the local National Health Insurance Scheme office and killed 1 person on the spot. The security sources also say the gunmen then moved towards the Garu school area where 2 more individuals, including a head teacher, were fatally shot. Now, the armed men, while leaving the town, reportedly also shot and killed another man, bringing the number of at least the confirmed deaths to 4 as we speak. We'll get an update on that, so stay with us. The attack has since left residents gripped fear and panic. And now, thankfully, we have the Member of Parliament for the Garu constituency, Dr. Thomas Anaba. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Dr. Anaba, good evening. Thank you for joining us. If you can unmute for me, please.
Thank you, Okansi, for having me. I would say good evening to you. Not so good for us in Garu, and
Absolutely.
good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners.
It is indeed not so good. The information we got earlier and the sequence that I've just run through, is it consistent with the briefing that you have received from the Regional Security Council?
Yeah, it is consistent from what I've received from all courtesies, including citizens or natives of the Garu township, that 4 people were gunned down and several others injured. Those who were injured were taken to Garu Hospital. Some were taken to other district hospital close, treated, some discharged, but I'm told 4 people are still seriously injured and they are within the Garu Hospital. That is what I've gathered. The assailants, as you heard, came from nowhere, directly went to the National Health Insurance Office to ask for the director of the National Health Insurance. And in his absence, they rather shot one of his staff down and left the place. On their way out, they went to the school, as you said, to shoot down the head teacher and continued on the road to pave their way out of Garu, shooting people on the way to be able to leave Garu.
Now, you say that he went there to ask, or the gunman went there to ask of the National Health Insurance Director at the Garu office.
Yes, that is what exactly happened. Yes. They went and asked of him and they said he wasn't around. Then they saw one gentleman there who was in his office and they shot him and he died instantly at the place. So it became a very sorrowful state. Garu, as we speak now, is in shock. Let me say the whole of Garu is now very alert. And let me thank the youth and everybody for the unity that we saw in Garu today, how they have come together to mobilize to monitor Garu. Garu is a very peaceful town, and we know of Garu is a town that is very observant of new people coming in. If you remember last 2 years, there was a strange vehicle that went to Garu. They tried to understand what the vehicle was doing there. It brought about a confusion between there and government because they had to attack the vehicle to see what was inside. But I think this team came as a surprise to the good people of Garu. So therefore, the sympathy and love for each other today in Garu has grown so hard that even though we've called security there, I think the vigilance there is now so tight that it will be difficult for anybody again to penetrate the next time to Garu to cause any harm they intend to do. That notwithstanding, I think the military have already arrived there and they are taking good positions to ensure that no one enters Garu. The good thing is that they didn't occur between people within Garu. It occurred, the shooting was done by people who came outside Garu. So there is no panic within Garu people themselves. There's no tension between people in Garu themselves. It is now a united Garu to look for intruders and people who will come from outside to attempt entering Garu. That is the good news, that it's not coming from, it is not a conflict within the town. That is the good thing about it.
But
the sad thing is that we lost 4 of our valuable members.
Indeed, and that's what I'm going to get to, because this thing happened in broad daylight. From the reports we're monitoring, as about 10 a.m. this morning.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly. It happened in broad daylight. That is why people were able to run after. Some people were brave enough to try to run after them. When the shooting started and they started running, they ran into some forest and took off and were able to run away from the Garu township. That's what really happened. They first went to the office, as we said. People saw them, even though no one can corroborate the motor number, the number plate of the motors. They were in smokes. And then after they shot the guy, they went to the school on their way, shot the head teacher, then continued their route to wherever they came from, and then shot people on the way and hurt a lot of people who were treated at the Garu hospital. People trooped there in their numbers to support them, to give them courage, and people rushed to the families that lost their relatives to mourn with them and even help them take graves to see whether they could bury them, especially those who were Muslims. So that is what really happened. As we sit now, Garu is in a very distressed state. The mood in Garu is not good. The mood is vigilance. The mood is awareness. The mood is watching everywhere in Garu. The mood is that no stranger would come there to cause any more harm to anybody there, because Garu, we don't have any conflict among ourselves. We live there, Kusasis, Bimobes, Frafras, Hausa, Moshis, Busangas. We live there very happily without any confusion. We don't know what is trying to cause this. So we leave everything into the hands of experts, the security agencies, the intelligence agencies, to make sure they unearth what really caused this shooting in Garu. Because we don't think it is armed robbery. If it was armed robbery, they should have gone to the bank that has money, the mobile money vendors that have money, the motor sellers who have money, but they went to the National Health Insurance. Poor National Health Insurance that has no money in there to ask for somebody, and later on even shot a teacher. A teacher is not in the bank, he has no money. So to us, it shouldn't be anything about armed robbery. I think it was a targeted killing. We suspect it is a targeted killing that was going to take place, and it has taken place on unfortunate people who perhaps were not the targets.
Well, we'll see what the police's investigation will bring out of this, because then it will be easy to conclude that it wasn't robbery because they didn't take anything from the NHIS office. So yes, but then again, the police will have to do that work of telling us exactly what this was. But then also thinking about the fact that this public school that was close to, or that is close to this NHIS office there, they went to this public school, teachers were running for their lives, and they just gunned down one teacher. And then this other gentleman who was on his way to the market, they saw him by the roadside, just gunned him down And later, this gentleman has been identified as a chief. Do you know this? Do you know this, that this other person is actually a chief in the area?
Yes, exactly. Mr. Jacob Anasa is the chief of a community called Werichengo, and he's even the appointee of the Kusasi traditional area to the Assembly of Garu. So he's a well-respected man in Garu. The bank in Garu, he was one of the people together with my father who founded the Vespa Bank in Garu. So he's well-known, very humble man, very nice man. That's why he became a chief of the community. That's why he was appointed to the assembly to be a member of the assembly. So I know him personally. I've lived with him. I always go to his house anytime I go to Garu. Very cooperative, somebody who appreciates human life. It is so sad that this man has been killed. The head teacher too, similarly, the children like this head teacher. He like organizing activities for them. They are loved. All those who died are actually people who have no track record of any criminality or any bad deeds. They are well loved by the good people of Garu. It's very unfortunate that their lives have been ended tragically in this manner. We hope that the security agencies will try to unearth the perpetrators, and then we can bring them to book. And we'll also put an end to this terror that befell Garu today. We hope that God will give them the vim, and their intelligence will tell us, point to us where these people came from and how they got into Garu, so that would put calm back to Garu. Garu so far, I think, is getting calm, but people are very vigilant. Now the local task force that is in charge of monitoring the community is now going to be well activated, and we shall support them to ensure that they cooperate with the police to make sure anybody who is not from our community, not from Garu, and is found wanting in Garu, must be answering some few questions for us to be certain that.
But that's it. So also come on I about Jùdgmént. Say POG Media the ban Ghana authentic political headlines and the updates. POG Media so pan also sabet me akabe na one the echo and the airban na my Ghana political space. Now some subscribe is still a drop subscription. Wait me so slide into the comment section now also wait me adding come more Jùdgmént. But that's it. So break now the can POG message.